Like, even when I was in the Rugburns, people used to say, you guys have the nicest slam dancers. Like, people that would get up in the mosh pit. You have, like, the nicest mosh pit. Somebody could get knocked down, and they go, I'm sorry, are you all right? Like, I don't know. I think everybody that, for whatever reason, has been drawn to what I'm doing is a cool person.
Hello and welcome to the Earfuel podcast. As always, I am Joel Freemark, and you can follow me on Twitter at @GetEarfuel and @TheDailyGuru. The podcast is available at SoundCloud.com/GetEarfuel and via the iTunes Store under Earfuel. What you heard at the top was part of my interview with the always entertaining Steve Poltz, and we'll get to that conversation right after we check out a brand new record. This week, I want to dive into the forthcoming album from the group Erie Wanda, and the record is called Hum. Now, I got an advance copy a few weeks back, and I instantly fell in love with it. Instantly. That rarely happens to me, but it did with good reason, as this is one of the most gorgeous, dreamy, get completely lost in it albums I've heard in a very long time. It's got heavy elements of dream pop running throughout, and for those who can't place the dream pop genre, think Mazzy Star, Jesus and Mary Chain to an extent, Belly, all sorts of groups can fall under there, and all of them are very, very good. But let's not pigeonhole Erie Wanda into just one thing. They have a strong foot in the psychedelic, and they have this uncanny knack for writing hooks, both musically and lyrically. It's very, very impressive. Whether it's a slightly lazier pace like on the song Mirage, or there's just this infectious groove on Volcano Lagoon, then you've got great harmonic hooks on songs like I Am Over Here. I just cannot express how much of a pleasure this album is from beginning to end. But I'll tell you, while I was listening, the word retro kept popping up in my head, and especially while I was writing. I just kept writing the word retro, but it's different kinds of the meaning of retro on different songs. Some of them have a Motown-era girl group retro sound. Some kind of have that 60s jangle pop retro feel. And then there are some that feel, I don't know, like a dark noir soundtrack, I guess? That makes sense in my head, but when I say retro, it means retro in every possible version of that word. There's just this realness, this passion coming from every aspect on this record, and you can really feel it. Each musician is injecting so much love and artistry into every song that you can truly, really, you can feel how much they love creating music together. It's very, very cool, and it rarely comes through this strong. There's diverse rhythms to keep you engaged from track to track, and the guitar work is just as good when it's a fuzzed-out psychedelic swirl as it is when it's in more straightforward moments. But for me, the vocals here were nothing short of enchanting. They've got just the right amount of reverb and modulation, and it's been a really long time since I heard a voice so perfectly match the sound and feel of a band. Honestly, I can't say enough about this album, and I know it's going to be a major contender for my album of the year at the end of the year, so do yourself a favor. Head over to beyondbeyondisbeyond.com and grab the brand new record from Erie Wanda. It's called Hum, and if you get it on vinyl, it is this gorgeous blue. Oh, it will make your day. Totally worth it. You're welcome. Moving on. For more than 2 decades, Steve Poltz has been one of my favorite musicians. From his songs that combine heartbreak and hilarity like nobody else, to his live performances that are always on the right side of unforgettable, he is truly one of my favorite humans ever. At some point near the end of last year, I have no idea when it was because nobody really does, he finished his most recent record. It's called Folk Singer, and he kind of decided not to tell anyone about it and only sell it at his shows. To be completely truthful, I found out this record existed because a friend of mine who's also into Steve posted it on Facebook, and I saw it there, and I said to him, I said, is there a new Poltz record? He said, yeah, he's only selling it at shows. And we actually talk about that in the interview, and he gives his theory behind it. I managed to catch up with Steve before he took the stage here in New York City the other week. And even after what was a crazy day of traveling, a last-second video shoot, all this stuff, Steve was still in top form. So sit back and relax and get to know the one and only Steve Poltz. An odd place to start. Have you ever considered how many shows you've played in your life? Because you tour relentlessly.
Why don't we say that I've done, let's just say I've done 200 shows a year for 30 years.
That's 6,000 shows?
Yeah, there you go. that's not even, that's 30 years. And I'm 55.
Right.
So
Yeah. And
there were shows before that. But I'd say, how many did you say again?
6,000.
6,000. That would be a fair assessment.
If my math is right.
That's lowballing it too.
6,000 shows. At least. Minimum.
Yeah, that's a conservative estimate. And I'm a conservative.
And
I'm
you're
the
a conservative kind of guy.
this country needs.
So when you look at a year, do you kind of say, here's where I want the tours to fall, or here's where I'd like to visit this year?
No, I wish I did, and I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start saying, leave me out of snowy areas in the winter.
Sure.
Because there's enough places to play that have... If I wanted to, I could chase autumn year-round because I like autumn the best.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just like it because I don't like spring as much because it's leading into hot weather.
Uh-huh.
I like autumn because it's leading into cold weather and the leaves are changing. It'd be nice to chase autumn, just for me personally. And autumn always means like all these holidays are coming up. Pretty soon you got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, and everybody's kind of in a happy mood usually. And there's like a sense of anticipation leading up to a new year that's about to begin.
Yeah. So, but you travel all the time, and you've been doing it for a very, very long time. You have, I guess we'll get to this first. You have this, I don't want to call them a cult, but you have this very devout following of people who have kind of come to know each other and through you and your music over the last, 30 years. How does it feel to be a cult leader?
Well, first, drink this Kool-Aid and I'll answer you.
I drank it earlier.
I don't know.
You have this very unique following. It's one of the most loving, beautiful groups of people who, the second you meet someone new, it's like you've known them forever.
I think I'm very lucky that I surround myself with good people, and I think really nice people are drawn to my music. Like even when I was in the Rugburns, people used to say, you guys have the nicest slam dancers. Like people that would get up in the mosh pit. You have like the nicest mosh pit. Somebody could get knocked down and they go, I'm sorry, are you all right? Like, I don't know. I think everybody that for whatever reason has been drawn to what I'm doing is a cool person. Like, I don't know. Everybody they meet each other and they plan trips. And that's like the best legacy you could have. I know when I'm dead one day, which we all got to die.
Eventually. Yeah.
People will go, you know what? That guy brought us together. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't know this person. Exactly. And that, to me, I know people will say that, and that's all I can ask for. That's the best.
And at the same time, so, you basically...
Cue to me dropping dead right now. Boom. And that's the interview.
The last words ever. So do you kind of know when you're going to certain cities, you're like, oh, that person's going to be there, and that person, so it kind of makes the touring a little bit different. You don't, I don't know, maybe get as lonely as some people do when they're on the road?
Every city, I think I know somebody. Like, for instance, coming up in about a week and a half, I'll be in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact my friend Eric Rudiak moved from Chicago to St. Louis. Mm-hmm. And he's come on my songwriting retreats that I've taught before. And he's brilliant. But his kids are really cool. And I taught his kids, I made up a day called Tractor Day. Okay. I acted like it was a bigger holiday than Christmas. And I said, do you realize, I don't know why it just came out of me. I said, do you kids realize it's Tractor Day tomorrow? And I was going to be staying in his house and I bought him these toy tractors. Sure. And so they really believe there's a holiday called Tractor Day. And so like it's neat to see Eric and hang out and talk to him. And I know like I'm going to see you, Joel, when I come to New York, and Suzanne Mitchell, and the list goes on and on. It doesn't matter the city. Mm-hmm. I've made friends everywhere from here to Melbourne, Australia, to Peterborough, Australia, to London, England, to Glasgow, Scotland. Yeah. And there's always a friend that I'm catching up with. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned songwriting. You have a ridiculous output of songs. It seems, I don't think I've ever seen you when you didn't have a new song or 5 to go.
Yeah.
Are you constantly writing?
Well, I think so, yeah. I really like to just make up and create little ditties about things. Yeah, so... And I have a huge well of songs to choose from at shows, so it makes it fun because I think always like, hey, what haven't I played? And there's always some consistent things depending on what stage of my life I'm at. If I'm promoting a record, I'm lucky in that way that there's always something to talk about or to write about, because it makes it interesting for me.
And when you're on stage, do you just kind of whatever song you're feeling in that moment, that's what you go for? Or do you kind of have a general idea before you start playing?
I never really have a clue. Like, I never know even what I'm going to open with.
Uh-huh.
I usually just walk out and then I go, a song will happen.
Uh-huh.
It's like I get into automatic pilot. That's when I feel I'm at my best.
Sure.
Is when I'm on stage because there's no and no distractions anymore, and I'm just like in the moment, and I get to play a show. Mm-hmm. It's usually fun, and sometimes I'm like kind of tired before a show, and I think, God, I don't have it in me to do this.
Sure.
But then I do something on stage that makes my body make a drug, and then the drug kicks in, which is like an adrenaline,
mm-hmm.
and it gives you, like, you don't really have to go have a cup of coffee before you go on, or a shot of espresso, because your body will make that drug for you. If you go on stage and do something ridiculous, stuff just starts to happen. It's really cool.
Uh-huh. With with the songwriting, the last few albums that you've put out, they've been a little different in terms of the release. You know, The Accident, all of a sudden I remember you just posting and you said, hey, I have a new record, here it is. And with Folk Singer, you really didn't tell anybody that you released it. I don't know if you know this, I sent Rob, when he saw you, I think in Texas, he grabbed a copy for me.
Oh, wow.
Because, so is there a reason you've just been kind of been like, here's a record, I'm not going to tell anybody?
It's called the Antirelease, release schedule.
Uh-huh.
Okay, here's the thing. The Accident was done, I was excited.
Yeah.
Then I went in and made another record that was supposed to follow up The Accident, and I didn't put it out right away. I have it. It's called The Claims Adjuster.
Okay.
And it's sitting there, and I was about to put it out, and then I got off the road, and my friend Jeff Berkeley said, hey, come over and record a song. So I did, and then I go, I should make a record. So I just started recording a record, and I go, I want to put this out right away, but I don't want to put it up online.
Uh-huh.
I want to make it so that it's just like not a release, and I show up at shows, and I go, oh, yeah, I have this record out, and people go, I have to have it, and they buy it like crazy, because I go, you can't get this online. Yeah. It's like only you can get it is at my shows, or if you buy it and mail it to somebody. It's so dumb. It's like the anti-release, but part of me is like, I feel like people don't appreciate stuff as much as they used to, because it's all free.
Yeah,
like you can go on Spotify and hear every Grateful Dead show in existence, and you can go anywhere and in a way, it's like it adds more value. In my own crazy mind, and other people would say, you are an idiot, and that's fine, but it won't be the first time I've been called an idiot. But the way I look at it is, it's really working. I'm selling so many records because people show up, and I say on stage, this is not online.
Right.
You can't even get it online. And other people go, that's dumb, though. And I go, there's enough of my records up online. You want to hear them? Hear them. If you want this one, buy it tonight. And then I'm going to finally put it up online. It was like my anti-release schedule, so it will be up within the next 2 weeks, I promise you. Part of me was getting overwhelmed with things. You saw what it was like. You've been hanging out with me today.
Yeah.
My schedule is nonstop.
Yeah.
Like nonstop till I lie down to go to sleep, and it's not slowing down. It's getting crazier.
Well, good. I mean, you certainly have more energy than most people I know, and I think there's something to be said for your anti-release, that you see a number of artists keeping their albums off of streaming services for a number of different reasons. I don't know if they all have the deep-rooted philosophical thought that you had of, hey, people can have something tangible and it's something special. A lot of people are just saying, I don't make as much money when something streams, or I don't make any money when something streams, whereas when people buy your CDs, although, your fans, we will buy stuff.
Yeah,
regardless.
I don't really have a problem with all the streaming services like a lot of musicians do. Like, I really love David Lowery from Cracker and Camper Van Beethoven. He's always been one of my favorite songwriters. I know I'm going to meet him one day. I can just tell we're destined to be friends. But he's really anti-Spotify and, got a lawsuit going. And I figure people like that will take care of it. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. I don't want to get involved in all that. The way I look at it is, look, technology's here. It would be like me standing on a street corner telling everybody, you have to use a typewriter and mail this letter. Do not email me. People would just laugh at you. So my reason for doing it is a little bit different. Not that I'm not going to make money. It's just that I feel like it's made it kind of going on a scavenger hunt. I need this record. And it's gotten demand up because people are going, dude, I need this record. And I go, oh, yeah, I'm going to put it up. And I just say that. And you think I would go, oh, well, I'll send you it. I kind of like making it hard to get. I don't know why, because I don't care that much.
No, I think it's great.
There's no method to what I'm doing. I just don't care. And I tell people at my shows, if you want to film me, go ahead and film me. Put it up on YouTube. I don't care if I screw up the song. Put anything you want up. If you buy this record and you want to copy it, copy it. I don't care.
No, but I like it. I found it funny that I had to have somebody on the other side of the country go to grab a copy, and well worth it. And I like
Normally
it.
you'd have a publicist ramming it down your throat to get you it and pushing it upon you.
Right. Can you talk about this on the day it comes out? Could you print this? Could you run this?
Yeah. Me, honestly, Joel, I don't care. I've done this so long.
Right.
I just think it's funny and it's quirky and it fits me. And so that's how it is. But it will be up. And then I got to put out The Accident. And then, I mean, I have a lot of records out there. And then I need to just go work on another record and come up with some ideas. And you know what I've never done that I really want to do? I want to go somewhere for a month and write a record. Like
go with
what I do is
ideas?
I collect songs and I go, oh, this will fit with this. This will fit with that. I want to go, I can't use anything that's been written. I have to write a record while I'm here and really force myself. I've never had to do that.
Yeah.
Like I've heard about bands going in and having to write lyrics on the spot. And I want to go in somewhere beautiful and just start writing a record and have it where I'm not online all day and where I'm just away from things and unplugged from the world. That'd be nice.
That's kind of what I was going to get at was, since you constantly write, what is there, what keeps you inspired to write?
Right. The thing that keeps me inspired to write is having deadlines in the song game that I do with Bob Schneider.
Right. Yeah.
That keeps me inspired because if I have a deadline and I have to finish a song, then that becomes a habit. And you can get out of the habit of turning your songs into because you're on the road a lot and that. So you got to it takes 21 days to make or break a habit. So if you were to if you were to wake up every morning, this is what they say, I think in the artist way or something, or maybe a writing handbook, maybe Stephen King said it, I don't know. You take a piece of paper, you fill 3 pages of paper every day when you wake up, longhand, and just write anything. Like this wallpaper in this room is kind of ugly. I have to go over there. I need to make a tea. I have to go pee. Oh, I did not call my mom today. It's just, it can be gibberish, anything, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But if you do 3 pages every day when you wake up, it's almost like doing calisthenics and your mind opens up. And I believe the same thing with writing. If you were just working on a song every day, some are going to be good and some aren't going to be good. But you're going to stumble into things that you would have never done because how they say nothing ventured, nothing gained. So.
Yeah. Have you noticed changes over the years in how you write or what you write about?
I think when I was younger, I may have had more of an edge.
You think you've lost your edge?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay.
I think I still have my edge. I just think I think I've gotten more brave as I've gotten older to show a sensitive side and to not be afraid to let any side I have show. Like I think in the past when I was younger, I would have been a little bit reticent to maybe totally show a loving side because cynicism was in.
Okay, sure.
And it was in fashion, and I didn't want to be too sweet. I think as I've gotten older, I really don't care what anybody thinks. That's the benefit of being 55, soon to be 56, is I wish somebody had told me that a long time ago, that you just won't care.
Sure.
And that's the best thing. That's so freeing, because I wish I could have felt this way in high school, because I really cared. I wanted to be cool, and I wasn't. And I wasn't in the coolest group, and I went through puberty really late, and I really wanted to be cool. I wasn't hanging out with the football team.
Sure.
I was on the wrestling team. I was a 98 pounder. That's a big difference.
It's funny when you say you've lost your edge, and I think, just off the top of my head, there's certainly stuff on the new record.
Oh yeah, I haven't lost my edge.
Where you're like that's a pretty harsh lyric, and but I will say there are some more socially aware songs. Even going back a couple records on. I think it was on Traveling or on Unraveling. Street Fighter's Face. Yeah. Which, was and that had a number of kind of anti-war.
Same with Rioting.
Songs.
The Rugburn song Rioting in My Front Yard.
So do you have to be in a specific mindset to write that versus, some of your more, something like Everything About You or, Want My Friends to Be Happy, kind of a more introspective kind of loving song, or do they all come from the same place? I feel
like I just stumble onto songs. Like there's one on the new record called Lake Wichigan,
which is great.
And I feel like I just stumbled upon it. The song title was Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, I just for some reason went, I can only believe again if you take me away to Lake Wish again. And I changed it to Lake Wish again. I didn't plan on it being talking about everything I did.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I write it just goes, I can only believe again if you take me away to Lake Wish again and I end up on a trip again and I hope I don't get sick again. I'd love to take that trip, but I never really believe I can because of all the troubles in the world that make me lose my tan. So that I was just like, oh, cool, kind of free form rhyming.
Yeah.
And then I went, oh, troubles in the world. Where does that lead to? So the next verse, I am just a frozen man floating in a frozen can, and the news is full of lots of sleaze. Makes me panic till I wheeze. I can always walk away. I can leave as early as today, but I got cards right up my sleeve. And I can be your best friend that you call up when you're angry. You say, Steve, 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 Steve. So the cards up my sleeve were like these thoughts, maybe these political thoughts. And then that leads into, on the TV, they were yelling and the candidates weren't gelling. And that's just because all these debates have been going on.
Yeah.
And I watched them. And so that's how Lake Wichigan was born. And I just go, boom, there's a song done. And I don't even know when it's good when I'm done. I go, I'll sometimes say to somebody, is this good? Because I'm not sure. Sometimes I might be sitting on something that could be really good.
Yeah.
And then other times the stuff I think is really good. Somebody can say one thing to me and I think, God, I guess that's not good. Like,
I guess that was a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe that was a bad idea. So what I try to do is not ask people's opinions and just write what I want to do. And then later I'll play it. And if they notice it, then a lot of times they'll say, oh my God, I loved that. Or one that I think they're going to say it about, I'll go, hey, did you hear the song that was about this? And they're like, I guess I did. No, I'm not that into it. And I'm like, you're not? It's like one of my favorite songs I've ever written. Like I have this song that I wrote that I am so into.
Yeah.
And it's on 99, and it's called Dog in Bosnia.
I adore that song.
You do?
When you posted it years before on your website.
Yeah.
And I have that version. It's actually on my iPod because I ripped it from your website.
Nice.
I love that song.
Cool.
Love it.
I think it's on 2 records.
Yeah, you've got 2 versions.
Two different versions.
The Perth version and then...
That's how much I love it. I recorded it a bunch of different times.
I am a fan. So if you're about to talk about how nobody likes it, I'm spoiling your party.
Oh, good. I'm glad. No, I always am like, I wish somebody would request that song.
Yeah, you teased it earlier at the winery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that song.
I don't know why I love it so. I think I love it because I love dogs.
The imagery's great.
And I love the idea of a dog looking at a cat that's teasing it, and it's kind of a lonely dog.
Sure.
And it's raining in Bosnia.
I see that, dogs in the window looking at the cat.
Yeah.
It totally works.
So. Good. Okay.
Speaking of, jumping back a bit, so the Wolf Blitzer song on the new record.
Yeah.
Where did that one come from?
That came from my friend AJ Croce.
Okay.
And we have writing sessions.
Right.
I went over to his house to write a song, and he just always says, I got this one idea. Or I'll say, hey, I'll come over with an idea, like a half-assed song, like maybe a line and a chord structure.
Sure.
I go, I have this idea. It would be kind of like T-Rexy and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Or something. So I went over to his house, and he goes, I got this idea. It's what it is it's Mr. Blitzer, wolf or man. And then he goes, I don't know. And we would go, oh. And he goes, he has a chord structure. And I go, oh, this is awesome. He goes, I knew you'd want to write this. And then the words just start coming out of me and of AJ. And it's like, Mr. Blitzer, wolf or man, isn't he a dapper Dan from Tanzania to Sudan to Japan, night and day on CNN.
It's a very unique song. And I was just like, that's okay. We're going to have songs about Wolf Blitzer now. But you know what? Maybe he doesn't have many about him. So
he needs to hear it.
He does.
He would like it.
We should make that.
Don't you think he would like it?
It could be the new theme to Wolf on CNN.
Oh, that'd be cool, Daddy-o.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
So the new record is called Folk Singer.
Correct.
And so was there a point where you realized you were more a folk singer than, because like with the Rugburns, it was obviously a lot more rock and roll styled. And over the years, I don't want to say you mellowed out because you have not, my friend. But your style has changed. It's there's more of a country western influence and more folk. Was there a point where you just kind of said, I'm digging this more and jumped in that direction?
Yeah. That's my answer.
That's it. Good answer. Okay, next question.
The world's worst interview. No.
Maybe.
Could be.
Possibly. That's a thought.
I'm not sure. What it is I think, like, I always loved Hank Williams.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Yeah. And so I would listen to all that Hank Williams, and I loved this band in San Diego called the Beat Farmers, and they were like alt country before alt country even was happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love all that 70s country, the years, all the stuff Merle Haggard was doing and Willie Nelson and, of course,
and all them.
Towns and Johnny Cash. And so I always was a fan of that. I don't know, like there's artists that I really love because they've grown old in a beautiful way. And I will give you an example of one. John Prine. I just saw John Prine play on Halloween, and I went to see John Prine and Chris Christopherson at the Civic Theater. Now, Chris Christopherson is very sick, kind of getting, I think, I don't want to say anything out of school, but I guess dementia.
It would seem so.
And it was one of the most powerful things. And I've talked to other people that were at that show going, that was the worst show I've ever been at. And I can't understand how everybody today is so, like, there's so many mean people, like, online, like, ew, that was the worst show ever.
Yeah.
And to me, it was so raw and real and powerful. And two of the greatest concerts I've ever seen, one was Rickie Lee Jones have a nervous breakdown on stage because she was heartbroken over a breakup and walked off stage and said, I can't do this. Wow. And the band didn't know what to do, so they start playing jazz songs. She came out a half hour later and finished the show and was fine.
Nice.
Chris Christopherson, when I saw him, he put the wrong harmonica on. He couldn't find the right harmonica. And then he sang that song, Loving Her was easier than anything I'll ever do again. And he got to the end of it, he goes, because loving her was easier than... shit. And he just strummed the chord wrong.
Yeah.
Just went in the next song, and I cried. It was so beautiful. It was so real. And that's all I want in an artist. I want to know that it's real, and John Prine is real, and he's got this shucks attitude, and anybody who wrote Angel from Montgomery and Sam Stone and Lake Marie is like one of the greatest songs ever written. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
We were standing by peaceful waters.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm so lucky to have been alive. There's so much music that I love. Like right now I'm totally into the Dead. Like it took a stroke to get me into the Dead. Not a stroke of luck, but a real stroke.
A literal stroke.
Like I was never into the Dead till a year ago.
Yeah.
And I had a stroke on stage and I went blind and I went into the hospital and I canceled a bunch of shows.
You're not blind anymore.
No.
We should just put that out there.
Yeah, then my vision came back, and when it did, I had trouble reading the letters, and I was confused. And since the stroke, I've been a bit more in a daze. Not a huge daze, but like kind of like a little bit more dreamy.
Sure.
I almost feel like I'm perma-stoned. And when the stroke happened afterwards, and I didn't play music for a few months, somebody had the Grateful Dead channel on, and I just went, they have their own channel?
They do.
And I was never really into the Dead, and then it all made sense to me after the stroke. It was like, whoa, like Franklin's Tower, all these songs are so beautiful, and Robert Hunter's lyrics, and Jerry Garcia's playing, and then I got me back into Old and in the Way with Jerry Garcia with Grisman, and I'm totally on this Grateful Dead roll, and it's the most beautiful music to me, and I would have never been into them. I was into the Replacements, and I was into Pavement and all these other bands, which I still love. Don't get me wrong. I think Pavement has a little bit of Grateful Deadness to them.
I believe so, yes.
Stephen Malkmus.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet
solo
the Malk.
stuff. Steven's solo stuff with the Jicks. It's
brilliant.
Fantastic stuff.
I need to meet the Malk.
But that's the beautiful thing, is that, wherever you are in life, you can always get turned on to new music. There's always something new to learn.
Exactly.
My thanks again to Steve Poltz for always making time for me. You can follow him on Twitter at Steve Poltz. Check it out at Poltz.com. And if he's coming to your town, honestly, go out of your way to get to the show. You will not be disappointed. Before we wrap things up, I do, of course, have your weekly Earfuel assignment. For those of you new to the podcast, each week I give an album to listen to in its entirety without any distraction or interruption. It stems from the idea that for most people, music has become a background task in life. You're driving, you're at work, you're playing games, whatever. And this is about consciously and purposefully listening to music, for the sake of the song, if you will. And yes, that's where we're going with this. This week, since it came up in my conversation with Steve, your Earfuel assignment is the great Townes Van Zant's 1972 masterpiece, High, Low, and in between. Now, there are many people who will say that Townes Van Zandt was one of the 2 or 3 greatest lyricists ever, and I will not argue with them. You would be hard-pressed to find someone with a more straightforward, heart and soul on your sleeve approach as you do in his words. He was capable of writing with immense heartbreak, but could also lift your spirits in just a few words. That was really the magic of his music, and it never loses its impact. This record has brilliant poetry on it, like the song Mr. Golds and Mr. Mud. Then you've got soaring spirituals like Two Hands. And then, of course, you have the hard luck blues of No Deal. This record really covers all of the bases in his catalog. But ask anyone who knows Townes, and they will tell you that this record contains the greatest song he ever wrote, and it is called To Live Is To Fly. You may have heard it before. Few songs have nailed the feeling of desolation and loneliness as honestly yet beautifully as you find here. And you can tell because there's this true love lying underneath every single word. There's this hesitation or maybe even ambivalence in his words that really gets you. And the song also contains one of my all-time favorite lines when he sings, "It don't pay to think too much on the things you leave behind." I love that line. It's a little bit folk, a little bit country, a little bit western, a little bit blues. There's just so much going on here. And Townes Van Zandt he's one of those artists that everyone should be well versed in, and High and Low and In Between is an ideal place to start. So go get on that. Thank me later. So that's all I got for you this week. As always, you can find me on Twitter at @GetEarfuel and @TheDailyGuru, and the podcast lives in the iTunes Store, and of course at SoundCloud.com/GetEarfuel. And hey, if you dug things here, go tell a friend or 3. That is your weekly Earfuel. Share and enjoy.